What are the changes to the AZ-104 exam and how will they affect you if you are taking this exam? Hello, I'm Philip Burton of idodata.com. The AZ-104 is for Microsoft Azure Administrators. So responsibilities for this role include implementing, managing and monitoring identity, governance, storage, compute and virtual networks, plus provision, size, monitor and adjust resources when needed. And that is essentially in one sentence the entirety of the requirements. So you need to have at least 6 months hands-on experience administering Azure. You should have a strong understanding of Azure services, workloads, security, governance, and you should have experience with PowerShell, command line interface, Azure portal and ARM templates. So you can see that this exam is really a generalist. You don't have to drill really deep into any one particular thing. Now, if we have a look at the skills measured, manage Azure identities and governance, implement and manage storage, deploy and manage Azure compute resources, configure and manage virtual networking, and monitor and backup Azure resources. So the percentages are unchanged in the latest update, well, all except one. The configure and manage virtual networking goes down to 20 to 25%. So let's have a look at the specifics. So if I click on the study guide, and what you'll see on the screen is the study guide up to the 27th of July. And I'll talk about the changes which are happening as of the 28th of July. And I would largely classify these changes as a fair amount of tweaking with only one section being removed. So to start off with, in the Manage Azure Active Directory objects, there is an additional item, Manage Licenses in Azure Active Directory, and the Manage Device Settings is being joined with and Device Identity. Perform bulk user updates, the word user gets deleted, so it's just perform bulk updates, and configure Azure Active Directory join, it gets deleted. In the next section, all about Rbac, role-based access control. This topic is actually being changed to manage access control, and additional emphasis is being added into, well, there's more than just Rbac, because we've also got the role as well as the access control. So we're going to start off with create custom Rbac and Azure Active Directory roles, and that replaces the standalone create a custom role. In the next section, manage subscriptions and governance, the word Azure is being added to that, as if nobody could remember that this entire exam is all about Azure. The first bullet point gets the words and manage into configure and manage Azure policy, and manage costs gets expanded by using alerts, budgets and recommendations. In the next section, implement and manage storage. So we start off with secure storage, which changes to configure access to storage, and configure access to Azure files gets changed to configure storage encryption. There's also in addition configure stored access policies, as well as other things that we've got here. The next section, manage storage, that gets changed to manage data in Azure storage accounts. Export from and import into Azure jobs gets merged into one, create import and export jobs. The next two get merged together and you're no longer being asked to install it. Manage data by using Azure Storage Explorer and AZ copy. The word replication changes to redundancy and blob gets removed, so that's the wider object replication. For the next section, there is just one deletion. We delete the create and configure the Azure file sync service. Now, in the next section, we've got a fairly big change. So the section used to be called Automate Deployment of VMs by using ARM templates. Well, the word VMs get deleted and it's now Automate Deployment of Resources by using templates. So not necessarily ARM templates, though when you get into the actual detail, it still really is ARM templates. So we have modify an ARM template, deploy templates, save a deployment as an ARM template, and deploy virtual machine extensions. So this to me is a bit of an oddity because it looks like it's a big change to the section. And remember, these bullet points are only suggestions of what you can study. However, the suggestions largely remain intact. In the configure virtual machines, there are two new topics: create a virtual machine and manage images by using the Azure Compute Gallery. redeploy VMs is deleted. The next two sections are completely the same. When we go to configure and manage virtual networking, the biggest change is the deletion of this integrate an on-premises network with an Azure virtual network. So the VPN gateway, the express route, the virtual WAN, you no longer need to know about them. Additionally, implement Azure Firewall goes as well. Now there's some rejigging of things into different sections. So this secure access to virtual networks becomes configure secure access, and given that, then the configure private endpoints, the configure endpoints on subnets gets moved into this section. Additionally, this including custom DNS settings and private or public DNS zones gets deleted. However, I'm not really sure how much difference that will actually make, because configure Azure DNS, what that includes is in any case. And then in the final section, we've got monitor and backup Azure resources. And we've got two big changes. Configure application insights. Well, that gets really expanded. Configure monitoring of VMs, storage accounts, and networks by using VM insights. It gets a lot more specific. And there is an additional one in the implement backup and recovery. Configure Azure site recovery for Azure resources. This perform site-to-site recovery by using Azure Site Recovery gets a bit adapted, perform failover to a secondary region, but it largely is the same. So in other words, one site goes down, it goes to somebody else, a secondary, you just need to do the failover so everything can point over to the new section. So there's a lot of tweaking in this, but aside from this section, which gets deleted in its entirety, and implementing Azure Firewall, I'm not sure that this is the biggest change. So if this section here, automate deployment of VMs, was really changed into its new automate deployment of resources by using templates, then this is a much wider sphere of ARM templates that you would have to look at. So modify an ARM template wouldn't just be for VMs, it could be for anything. It could be for creating a virtual network or subnet, or compute resources. So overall, I think there's been a small relaxation in what you have to do for some things. So you don't have to implement an on-premises network, and you have to know a bit more about ARM templates. So I hope this has been useful to you, and you now understand more about the changes required for the AZ-104 exam. Now, if you'd like to know more about related topics, maybe you're not into Microsoft Azure but want to know more about it, then why not have a look at my Udemy courses? In the AZ-900 Fundamentals course, we have a look around all of the various core products that are available, together with virtual machines and much, much more. We've even got a lot of bonus materials, so you can see more about what's there in Azure. Alternatively, if you'd like to administer on Azure, but you actually want to be more into databases, then please have a look at the DP300 exam and my course on it. So in 17 hours, we'll have a look at various administration tasks that you'll need for Azure Database Administrator. So it's fully up to date with the new changes, and I don't talk about changes to SQL exams on this particular channel. If you'd like to know more about the changes, well, there is a video coming out on Thursday with all of the changes for the DP300 exam on my other channel, SQL Server 101. We'll hope to see you in that video as well. I hope this was of use to you. If it was, then please click the like button, and why not subscribe and click that bell? That way you'll be notified of any new changes. Links to my Udemy courses are in the description to this video. Thank you very much for watching this, and keep learning.